Let's just check how we are doing. Good afternoon, everyone. If you just joined in, let's have a little look, Dave.
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. Great stuff. Well, hey, everyone. I hope you're having an awesome week. Yeah, it's been a bit of a mad week. Dave, we're both in the office, right?
We are, yeah. But as you can see, that is you're over there on the other side of that door.
I am. We're social distancing in the office.
Exactly, yeah.
No, but it's it's been a great week, and thanks for joining us. Dave Rimington's back again, and Tony, Shane. Yeah, definitely. If you've just joined us, just give us a thumbs up and just say hello. Always good to know who's on.
The old Brian.
Looking forward to this one. Paul Meacher. I know we've been this one today. Over the last few weeks, we've done a lot around equipment. We haven't quite exhausted equipment yet. We had a few more bits we're going to talk about. Base layers. Also bottoms as well. We haven't really talked about. But today we wanted to talk about training weekends. We've had a few questions over the last few weeks around them. We thought, why don't we do, take on, as always, the first sort of 5-10 minutes is around a specific subject. But any questions, do comment.
Yeah.
Because it's always about everything. So don't think it's just about training weekends. But obviously, if you've got any training weekend questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Far away. But it's been an interesting week. With regards to lessening of restrictions in the UK, especially in England. Hello, Penny. Penny's in the office with us today, so she might make an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to the lessening of restrictions, especially in England. In Wales, it's kind of been more or less the same, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I'm beginning to suspect that Wales is now just going to stay like this forever. I keep getting notifications today that Boris Johnson's going to announce the eases to lockdown. So awesome for all you English people. Get out in the hills. Every weekend in the mountains is a training weekend. Hopefully we'll be allowed out soon. We do have a training weekend already scheduled, and it's pretty much fully booked, set to go for August.
Yeah.
But obviously there is a question mark over that with regards to, we're pretty sure we're going to be able to move around and go to the hills, but it requires at least 10 to 15 of us all staying in close proximity in the same room. So we got our fingers crossed that we're ready to get that one going, but it all depends on what I was going to say what Bojo says, but it's not Bojo, it's Mark Drakeford. So yeah, we'll see what Wales decide to do, but hopefully it's going to go ahead because they are awesome weekends and we really love doing them because it's like this, but for 24 hours a day for 3 days.
Well, it's not too bad. People generally enjoy it. I see the comments here. I'll try and keep this clean, but there's a few interesting choice words there. But yeah, it's not too dissimilar. Chris Collins, who's on the comments there. We do like to have a how do we call it? We have we make sure we're hydrated all weekend. I know Rye is on. I know Mick, who came on a couple of our training weekends.
Yeah,
and we make sure we're hydrated, especially in the evenings, because after a full day in the mountains.
Yeah,
there's no harm in a couple of pints afterwards just to
exactly
light back the day.
And also after a day's trekking in the mountain, if you are Bry, you'll strip down to get a picture in front of Andy's.
He has done that in the past, but yeah, training weekends. So, primarily just to give you a bit more base information about them, we run them in the Brecon Beacons at the moment. We do. I don't know if you noticed that we sent an email out a little bit earlier today. And I might have put it in the Facebook comments, but basically we are looking at other alternatives as well because, we realise that not all our customers are from Wales. Loads of you guys are from England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, even as far away as New Zealand. Obviously, it's a bit difficult for you guys to come on a training weekend. More than happy to come along. But yeah, so we are looking at other alternatives. We're definitely going to be running some in North Wales and also in Scotland.
Yeah.
They're literally not far away from being released in terms of those dates. But we're going to be working alongside a good company up in North Wales called Aim Higher, ran by Stephen Jones. And basically, man with lots of experience. You may have heard us talk about Steve a lot because it's where we've done our mountain training in North Wales. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a great team. So yeah, any especially when it comes to winter skills, preparing for any big peaks. Like I know Miko's on the live here, and he asked about Aconcagua last week.
Yeah.
And it's the same, we are looking to get some sort of decent winter training for that, especially with things like Island Peak, Mera Peak as well. We want to, kind of build that in. I know Mick, who's on the live as well, has done some training with Aim Higher. He's a really nice guy, Steve. So yeah, so that's what we've got sort of in the pipeline. But priority at the moment for us is trying to make sure that autumn is going ahead, because at the moment, autumn and pretty much all of our trips, like I say, we've got the training weekend in August.
Yeah.
September is kind of where everything's kicking off. We're super excited. We can't wait to get back to the mountains, and all's going well at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Obviously, if there's any updates, any major updates, then we'll definitely let you know with that one. But right, we'll tackle a few questions then. Let's have a little look. Paul Meacher. Hey, Paul, how you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us again. I know you've joined us on a few of the lives, haven't you? Let's have a little look then. Paul Meacher. So we've asked. Let's have a little look. Can't you feel living there 6 months now? Ooh, yeah, definitely. Well, I hope those, not long, Paul. Paul's asked about renting sort of place in the area. There's heaps of places to rent in Brecon Beacon.
Loads of the Airbnbs and stuff like that you can get. Yeah, why not? If you're in the area and we're doing them, you're more than welcome. Yeah, exactly. If you want to stay on, we use kind of our own accommodation for the training weekends. We use basically an old farm. They've converted into accommodation, which is quite cool actually. It's a little bit rustic. Yeah. But we don't, on the training weekends, we don't do 5-star. We kind of stick to. Sorry, we got someone at the door. We do like to stick to a little bit of rusticness when it comes to the training weekends. But with regards to training days, what other questions we got, Dave? So looking at this one, there's a couple of ones out here. So Sarah Dickinson, question: how do you keep your water bladder straight into kit? It's typical, isn't it? All the kit questions we've had. How do you keep your water bladders clean whilst on the EBC trek? To be honest, you only need to clean them sort of in between treks when they're not being used. You're going to be filling that up with fresh, clean water every day. So, and then you'll be drinking it and filling it back up again. So generally day to day, you don't need to clean it. What will happen is, as soon as I get it back home, I'll empty it all out, and then I'll wash it. And I've got this, kind of brush you stick down in there and just give it a scrub and then dry it out. And that's it. You don't really need to clean it sort of day to day when you're on the trip. It'll stay clean itself just by the process of you filling it up, drinking it, filling it up, drinking it. It's all good. Or it'll freeze solid, in which case it'll stay nice and safe for you, like your food in the freezer, until you next use it. Don't do what I did though, Anne. Do you remember when me and you went base camp April last year? I had my rucksack on, and I realized that I hadn't touched it in months and months, and I had my tube there, and without even thinking, I thought, is there any water in that? And I sucked it through, and I was like, ah. When I looked at it, there was mold and bits in there. Yeah, that wasn't the best. Yeah, so a visual check is better than a taste test when it comes to how safe your water is. Oh, you nutter. Shane mentions not doing the next one in August. Shane, I know you've joined us on the live a couple of times, mate. And with regards to the training weekends, we do tend to sort of leave them till just before we run a trekking season. Yeah. Just so a lot of you can sort of come on the trips before you go. Appreciate that. If you can't make this one, we will run more. We're trying to put some more over the winter as well, because especially going in, the winter conditions are always a good challenge. Yeah, exactly. We love them. If it's snowing or raining, we want to get out over the winter. So we'll definitely do some over winter, and then into next year, sort of March time, just before the sort of season kicks off, really. Yeah, exactly. So John Newman said, is there a set program for the training weekends? There is. We don't follow sort of what I can do. I can send you the itinerary. Normally, every time you book on, you'll get sent an itinerary of what the idea is for the weekend as a little sort of as a snapshot. So we'll meet on Friday evening. We tend to meet at the accommodation between 5 and 7. Ideally, you want to be there by 5 because we're thinking about going next door to the pub for our food at around 7. First night on that Friday is just, hi, how you doing? Let's have a beer. We'll chat about what trip are you on, what trip are you on. Then we wake up early on Saturday, breakfast is included, and then we set off. And normally on a Saturday, we'll do the Horseshoe Ridge in Brecon. Yeah. So starting from the reservoir in Talabont, we'll then walk around and we'll go over, was it Crib? No, where did we go over? Penavan and Crib.
You're
Do you know what? Crib Court was somewhere. I've seen it somewhere written.
Yeah, Wayne mentioned it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of, we go over Corndy, Penavan and the Cribbin, and then back down. And basically it's like a dry run for any high altitude trek, whether that be EDC or Kili. So we'll walk as a group, we'll set a pace as a group. And it's basically just, we'll talk about Everest Base Camp, Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu, what the pace is going to be like, what sort of kit you need to bring. And then when we get back in Saturday, we normally have a bit of a kit chat. So I'll pack my bag usually as if I'm going to base camp, and you open it up and everything that's in there is everything 100% what I will take to Nepal, Tanzania. So you guys can get it all out, have a look, ask questions, and you'll have a kit list and loads of other nice things that you can make a list down and, okay, I want that. What do I need that for? What do I use that for? Yeah. And I'll even weigh it for you to prove that I can get everything into around 15 kilos.
We should actually take the a weigh-in kit. Definitely, I forgot what you call them now. Weigh-in kit.
A weigh-in kit, yeah. I use a scale myself, and
weigh-in scale. That's the word I was looking for. Jeez.
Well, I've got one of those luggage ones that is in my tracking bag, so you can lift it up.
Give it a challenge.
Exactly, yeah. Just to show you that you can bring everything you need and get it into 15 kilos.
Yeah.
Then Sunday we normally set out. Sunday's a bit of a wild card. It depends on what the weather's doing, where we're going to go, what we're going to do, where we're going to eat. So normally we'll stop somewhere and we'll have like a nice roast dinner. We used to do quite a long walk where we did a long walk, then we had a full roast dinner, then we had to do another 6 miles. And we had some feedback to say that was a bit tough going. So we might look to do something different. If it's a really nice day, we might go up to the waterfalls where you can jump in. Yeah. Sunday is a bit of a wild card. We're going to have a look at that. We've got the Great Bald Yeti, John. He's not on here today. He's farming today, I think. But he'll do a recce, have a look at the area, have a look at the trails and stuff like that, and find something that's suitable.
He coordinates the kind of weekend from where to stay and everything, but primarily it's us. But again, with regards to the future training weekends, especially somewhere that's not in the Brecon Beacons, we will be running them in North Wales and Scotland. Again, we're looking at sort of people around sort of middle England, if you like. You've got the Peak District and Lake District. I say we'd love to run these training weekends everywhere, but we always kind of stick to what we know, especially because we're based down in South Wales. Primarily all of our trips are run abroad, in a high altitude. So we're trying to balance what we're doing with bringing specialists in, to teach you the relevant skills. But when it comes to high altitude trekking, it's because we've had a couple of questions come in off the live. Monique has messaged in on Messenger in terms of how fit do you need to be for the training weekends. These training weekends are basically just getting out in the mountains and hiking. So if you're a regular walker, if you're a regular hiker, these weekends are going to be similar to what you've already done. It's not like you learn any new technical skills on our Brecon Beacons weekend. Obviously, the winter skills is different. It's just basically almost an opportunity to, catch up with the EverTrek team, learn a bit more about how we like to run our trips. Yeah. So it's like a weekend Q&A. So I know we're doing this on the lives each week, but you've got access to us for the whole weekend in terms of anything you need to know before you go out there. Yeah. As Dave mentioned, we go through quite a lot of info, that kind of we think that helps. Things about hydration, things about speed, definitely a lot on mindset because we're big on that. When it comes to any of our trips. So in terms of how fit do you need to be, come on the weekend. If you can manage sort of 3-4 hours of walking, you should be able to do our routes. They're not technical routes. You don't do any technical gear. You're just walking.
Exactly. And the main thing is that it's about a dry run for where you're going. So if you go into Everest Base Camp, if you're going to Kilimanjaro, although fitness is important and you are encouraged to be as fit as you can possibly be, because the fitter you are, the more enjoyment you'll get out of it. What's more important and what we're trying to learn is how to manage yourself at altitude. So we'll talk about the pace of the group. Now, there's one way to acclimatize, and that's to gain your altitude very gradually. It's the best way to do it. So that's how we walk. A to B every day. We get there really slowly. And then each day we'll, after like so many days, we'll have an acclimatization break and stuff like that. But one key part of the training weekend, which is replicated in your trek, is you have lots of breaks and lots of time for chit chat and take photos. And
it's very relaxed. Very
exactly.
relaxed.
So we all just sit, we kind of go at our own pace and we enjoy it and we have a good time. That said, though, I think it was Mick was on the training weekend when it was like the
torrential rain. Yeah.
Like the 80, 90 mile an hour winds blasting us and stuff like that. But
it was pretty crazy, wasn't it? I know Mick on the live here. Could you arrange for some rain, please? Well, Mick, I know it's important to hydrate. Well, hopefully for this weekend we got some rain, but let's enjoy the sunshine before that happens. Tom's asked, I think he's asked a couple of times. So, hey, Tom, thanks for, sorry, not Tom, Tony has asked about the costs for the weekend. Yeah, nice, easy one. Actually, sorry, Tony, I brought up your wrong question because you've asked down there. There we go, I'll bring that in. So the cost of the training weekend. So, yeah, they're basically, I think it's £195, Dave, for the training weekend, isn't it?
Or is it just 200 quid? It might be 200 quid now on the nail.
200, yeah, I think we've just made it nice and easy.
Yeah.
With regards to the training weekend. So, with us, that covers everything really from sort of when you arrive to when you leave. You've got like your breakfast in there as well. Nice full brekkie before we head off. The only thing we do sort of say you bring is if you want anything to because when you're in the mountains, you need to take your food with you. So if you bring sort of some packed lunch food, ready to take out, then I highly recommend that. Snacks, things you'd normally take on a normal mountain day. Yeah. There are the Brecon Beacons. There's normally some shops that are local, but we don't want to rely on them. So sometimes it's best to just bring your own stuff.
Exactly.
Make some sandwiches, things like that.
Yeah, on the Saturday there is you can always nip into Brecon on the Friday if we got time. There's supermarkets there and stuff like that, and there is a little shop pretty much directly opposite where we're going to stay, where you can buy bottles of water, get a bacon sandwich and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you forget and you're on the hill and you're starving, hungry, we can send like a messenger, like my father, Doug.
No, we can sort of look at getting it for you. It's just nice if you're traveling a long way. There are some local shops and things locally. So, great question coming through.
Debbie has said, would the training weekend be a good time to try walking poles? Yes.
Debbie.
Yes, it would. Walking poles is one of those things we've got to get used to. The first time I tried them, I couldn't work with it. It just felt too cumbersome, and I like my hands being free.
Yeah.
So I used to walk with one just for a bit of balance. But recently, I have started using two on the steep sections and stuff like that. So on Kilimanjaro, they were brilliant because you just kind of like plod on and help your way up. But yeah, it is a really good opportunity. It's all of those things, because what it's designed to do is for you to have 2 days back to back in the Brecon Beacons, walking with us, becoming an expert before you ever even leave the UK on where you're going and how you're supposed to trek there. But also it's a time for you to figure out exactly what's right for you. So we encourage you to get out there and do as much hiking as you can. But when you're doing that on your own, there's not always someone next to you who you can perhaps ask and get like really good advice from, and it's not just myself and Andy, it's everyone on the group as well. We have a big collective experience there. So things that'll work for you, that'll work for someone else, you can share tips and stuff. And they're really good, to be honest. I love the training weekends.
They're always a good energy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Always a good energy. Now we got some Pablo. Hey Pablo, I know you joined us on a couple of lives. I mentioned about the fan dance. Yeah, it's quite popular in Brecon Beacons. It's we've done the route many times. We haven't actually done the events. Yeah. We know that there's a couple of special forces guys that run those. We haven't actually. We got a lot of EverTrekkers that have done the fan dance. It's typical. The ones we always kind of try and do in January, but always seems to be the same weekend as the Adventure Travel Show, especially the last 3 years.
Yeah,
because we regularly attend some travel shows in London. The Adventure Travel Show is always on the same weekend, but no, it's definitely on our list to do. It's with regards to that sort of event. It is a quick event. You're timed. The important thing is like it's great training, but that's not how it's like a high altitude. High altitude is slow and steady. So sometimes just spending more times, like I know with the fan dance, you've got a certain time you have to do it in. Although it is great, if you wanted to have maybe like a 7 or 8 hour jaunt in the mountains, it's probably better for you in terms of preparation, for like an Everest Base Camp trek or Kili trek. But that being said, I know a lot of our EverTrekkers have done the fan dance and they love it as an event.
Yeah.
I know one of our customers, EverTrekkers, and friend Brooke, who came with us to Kili in February, with myself and Dave. She had done the fan dance as well in horrendous weather, and she did in just over 4 hours, I think. But which is quick, because a long way.
Yeah, but Brooke's a maniac. She can't be.
She is fit.
She takes it too far. But something tells me that Mick and Bry would have done the fan dance as well, given their military experience. I also think Mick may have actually taken part in it. I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah, he has.
But no, I've done that. I've done it, but like I said, more that just to do the route, just for an enjoyment. I haven't done a lot of like trekking events, because I quite often like to just go out all day on my own and follow my nose. But one I really enjoyed was, I think we're supposed to be there in a week's time, and we got about a week, but obviously it's been cancelled. Is the Great Glencoe Challenge?
Yeah, we were gutted about that in Scotland.
Yeah, that was good. So it's like a week's time we're supposed to be going up there, and it was that was amazing. Yeah,
it's a great event. I think that is, it is long. It's basically a marathon, so it's 26.1 miles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over there's I think it's one called the Devil's Staircase, I believe. I can't remember now, but it's by Glencoe all the way to Fort William.
That's about 5-6 miles in. What's weird, the Devil's Staircase was bothering me. But it was easy. It should be called, like, I don't know, the Devil's Stairmaster, or not Stairmaster. The Devil's Stair Lift.
Just going through some questions as well. It's loads today. It's brilliant. Loads on the training weekends, which is awesome. Usually we talk about something and then there's questions about everything else. Asher has asked how big are the groups for the training weekends. We kind of don't like them too big. I think the max we've had, because we've run a couple of, I think it was back in 2018, we had some big groups then who were like 14, 15 people. It was because we ran some corporate weekends. But the average sort of size is anything around sort of 10, 11, 12 people, Asher. So, yeah, definitely get yourself on one of those weekends. And then Chris has asked, just before these disappear, because they're almost disappearing off our list, weight for your backpack for the training weekend. Yeah, I mean, is there an ideal training weight for your backpack? Chris, if you're going to go out, Dave, what weight would you say? I mean, we normally say sort of double what you use regularly, right?
Yeah. So if you want to actually weight your backpack up in order to do some training, really you want to. It all depends on how fit you are, but you want to make it so you can still do what you've got to do. It's just much harder. You don't want to load your pack up to the point where you can't go as far as you normally would. So if I was going to do 10 miles and I can do 10 miles relatively easily without a pack, I still want to be able to do those 10 miles with my heavy pack, so that'll give you a much greater benefit than just putting one that's crazy heavy on and you're only getting 2 miles in. So it's about working out what's kind of good for you. To be honest, the best way to do it is water, because it's really easy to get rid of if you want to lighten your pack. So generally speaking, when I start, I don't do it so much anymore, but when I used to train with a weighted pack, I'd get a couple of like liter bottles of water, and a liter of water is a kilo. Yeah. So I'd maybe put 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, just like stack them in my rucksack, and just head off with them in my rucksack. And I'd drink a few, and then worst case scenario, if it got too heavy and I had to abandon some, then I would just pour the water out and keep the plastic in. Rather than sand, I've heard people weighing sand or putting like books in there or something. That's a nightmare, because you don't want to leave your books or any sandbags around. So just try bottled water. To be honest, I'd start out maybe, I'm not entirely sure, 10 kilos maybe. See how you got on with 10 kilos? That's quite a fairly decent weight. Yeah. It's also heavier than you'll be carrying around in base camp. But I've heard people do crazy that, they'll walk around with like 20 kilos, 30 kilos and stuff like that, which, like I said, though, it's really good and you can smash out some serious miles, but just make sure that you can do the miles with the weight,
Yeah, good point. Yeah, very good point. I think you're right, David. It's more about just getting out, pack on your back. It doesn't necessarily need to be massively overweight. It's just about the time spent. Because with Everest Base Camp, Kili, they are really good challenges. If you're doing something a bit higher, maybe like Island Peak, Mera Peak, even if you're taking on something like Aconcagua or something like that, it's probably a bit more training involved. But yeah, with the others, there's no technical things you need. You just need to get out and walk and get the mileage in your legs. Really, that's the best thing. I mean, you can always build strength in your legs.
Yeah.
Like we recently teamed up with the Altitude Centre in London.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned last week. We got been creating the last couple of weeks some decent training plans. We'll definitely share them as soon as we can. And what we'll do as well is there's actually we've got access to their we call them personal trainers, but they're like altitude personal trainers.
Yeah.
And you can fill in a form. We'll send you the form because we'll be sharing this across the community. And you put in pretty much like what trip you're going on, what your experience is, how long until you've got your trip, and they'll come up with some sort of personalized plans for you guys. So I think we've got in touch with them because of their expertise, and they share the same sort of ethos as us, which is that anyone can go to high altitude. It might be different sort of circumstances, like they've kind of worked out there's some people from a physiological point of view who do struggle, and there are patterns around that, so they can work out almost if you will have difficulties. But that's not saying you can't, because we know from experience that anyone can go to high altitude with the right mindset, with the right training. So yeah, we'll definitely be sharing that, guys. It'll make a huge difference.
Yeah, big leap forward, I think, because a lot of people have been saying things, you can train for altitude or you can't, and it's hard to know which expert to sort of put your trust with. So that's why we've been going a number of years yet, and we've not really found someone until we looked at the Altitude Centre who are able to provide you with that data-based plan and actual tests and stuff that can be measured. So you'll get a number that you have to improve, and they'll tell you how to improve it. So at the very least, it'll give you peace of mind, and that can make all the difference because it'll help anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you get this right, this is the important thing right here. And I know we always go on about this, but if you get your mind in the right place before you're going on a challenge, you won't go far wrong.
Exactly. So George Steedman has said,
yes,
it's at the Adventure Travel Show. Yeah, awesome. That was a big weekend, and that was a hardcore weekend. So
it's always busy, always popular.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it, but yeah, that was busy. So yeah, he said, any timelines on expanding the destinations into the future K2 base camp? Yeah, to be honest, it's anytime we are looking at a trip, it's ongoing constantly. So we've got every destination you could think of is one that we're looking at. We've got a couple of really good contacts that we're looking to sort of hook up with to do K2 base camp.
Yeah.
So I think soon is the answer. We haven't got a strict timeline because this. I'm tempted to say if it wasn't really for COVID and having to adjust the way we work and things,
we probably would have had it out by now.
Probably would have had it out now. So that gives you an idea. So we've pretty much got everything. But what we like to do is, because we do know that some like adventure travel companies, what they'll do is almost like trial and error. So they'll go to a country, find someone that they want to hook up with and maybe produce a really good team, but it doesn't work. So then they'll try another one, and then another one, and then another one. We don't do it that way. So what we tend to do is like heavy research at the beginning. Myself and Andy usually go out there and we meet the guys, and only then is a call really made as to whether they'll meet the criteria for an EverTrek trip. So that's why it might take a little bit longer than normal, but when it is launched, we know that you guys are going to love it.
It's with K2 as well. It's something that's been on the agenda for a while. The Karakoram is amazing, but we're growing the team. So we've already got one person who's joining us in August. And then we've got another Yeti then who we're still looking for at the moment, and we're doing applications, interviews, because we're growing the team, because we realize that we've got all these places we'd love to launch, but we can't test them all. As much as we love to we love to be away all the time. We love running the EverTrekker community. So yeah, we're growing the team so we can actually expand. So we're looking forward to that. August is when we got our first Yeti. Hopefully we'll have one more by then, and we'll have another 2 Yetis in the team, and then we'll certainly look at testing some of these new trips, because as Dave rightly said there, we don't want to just offer you K2 base camp and send you out there and it's not kind of EverTrekkified, if you know what I mean. It's we want to make sure it's good, and it's as good as what we got in Nepal. you know, and Tanzania, you know, and in Peru. We've got the sort of level that we like to run them at. You know, it's not that it's 5-star or anything, but there's certain things, there's safety standards, levels of accommodation, experiencing guides. So we want to make sure that all that is sort of ready to rock and roll before you go out there.
Exactly.
But yeah, George, you know, we're as excited as everyone. We want to do K2 Basecamp, Dave. I know it's been on your bucket list for years, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I love it. You know, the idea of K2 Basecamp. One, K2 is, you know, it's one of those mountains that always kind of like scares me a little bit when I think about it. You know, but it's huge, it's beautiful, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
The K2 Basecamp is really much more of a wilder trip than, say, Everest Basecamp by comparison, which is obviously a really popular route. So it's been sort of trekkified, where when you go to K2 Basecamp, it does, you know, there's a lot of camping, wild trekking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's very raw. And also, you know, even just flying into Pakistan and spending the night in Islamabad and stuff like that, it's all very exciting. So, yeah, it's big one on my list. And we definitely are going to do it. Yeah, and soon is the answer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, George, well, as soon as we will, and we're looking for test pilots, we'll definitely, because we always like to test trips out first. We'll definitely be putting that out there, mate. So get yourself in. There's been a couple, I think. James actually mentioned about. I'm just trying to find your question, James, but about bringing dogs on the weekend. Yeah, you know what? Over the last few years, we've had some EverTrekkers who've brought along their dogs, and yeah, of course. The only challenge is around the accommodation, because the accommodation don't allow dogs. So if you live locally, awesome. You know, bring your dog along to some of the training weekends. We have had someone who's come all the way, but they chose to actually camp, because there is an area, is like a little area we use where you can stay in a tent.
Yeah.
You know, we can't sort of set up base camp, you know, but as you know, 1 or 2 tents is fine.
Yeah.
You know, if you really wanted to bring your dog, because we've had someone do that before, and yeah, if you come on a training weekend with us and you live, you know, far away, you know, just give us a bell and we'll sort of work it out between us. But yeah, we love you know, we love our furry friends. We got who's just sleeping. I don't know if you can see her there, but she's coming on some of the training weekends. So yeah, definitely, they're always dog friendly.
Awesome. That's what's the youngest age for the training weekend? We don't really have an age limit either end really of the scale. They have to be able to obviously trek for 2 days in a row. But yeah, other than that, how old are you thinking? You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, if you bought a screaming baby, probably not. Only because there's a room full of 10 of us, like in the bunks and stuff like that, and you have to carry the baby. But if the person's like a young adult, you know, even like, I don't know, 10, 11, as long as they can walk for 2 days, bring them along.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, again, I mean, this is sort of thing we'll look at the individual basis, you know, because you have to be comfortable with regards to because we do stay in dorms. You know, we can look at sometimes, depending on capacity, having your own room, you know, which is obviously better if you bring in someone who's sort of under 18. You know, or as I mentioned about camping, you can bring a tent and camp outside. We've had people do that before. So if you're looking to bring someone, Carol, yeah, just literally maybe pop us a little email, you know, info@evertrek.co.uk. We can sort of liaise and chat about it, and see what we can do. And we can speak to the accommodation as well and see what we can do or we can cater for, because we want to get everyone on. We don't want to put roadblocks up.
Well, he's 11 anyway.
You can do.
Yeah, he's 11. Strong lad. He'll probably outrun most of us.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Yeah, I need to slow him down.
Yeah, exactly. So let's have a quick look. Shane Ryan has said, will we be starting groups for each tour to EBC and Kili and add in people to that so they know each other beforehand? No, it's probably the best answer, because we have so many groups
yeah,
that it would be a full-time job for someone just to organize those things. However, people normally do that themselves via our high altitude EverTrekkers group.
Yeah.
So if it is something that you want to know, what normally happens is someone will post on there, you know, who's going to EBC on this date. Someone else will comment, yeah, me too. And then they start WhatsApp groups and stuff like that. Yeah, I usually find out about them, you know, years later. People like
it's a good question though, because we did think about doing that in the past, and we know some companies do. The fact is, yeah, we run so many groups. Like Dave said there, it's a full-time job to sort of manage those. So you know, we do get some people who start them up themselves, you know, especially like WhatsApp groups, things like that. But that's why we run the training weekends, for you to come along. And if you do, you know, if you're on a specific trip, we do say just post in the group, because there'll be others in your group. So say you were going in November 21 to base camp, just post in the high altitude EverTrekkers group. Other people will join in, and you can even come on the training weekend together if you want to catch up before.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, we'll try and make it as easy as you can to get to know the other people before you go. That's what we're trying to run, as many of these training weekends as possible. But I know a lot is because there's been a few questions, and Shane, it's a very good question. I know Diane, Byron, Chris, I know a few of you have mentioned about other training weekends around the UK. So it's difficult to run them all over the place because we are based in South Wales. You know, as we grow, we'd like to definitely run them, you know, in multiple places. We're definitely going to do North Wales because we know that's not a million miles away from, you know, the sort of Midlands, that sort of area. So you don't have to come all the way down to South Wales. And the same because we've got a lot of EverTrekkers who live in Scotland. So we're trying to run them up there, sort of somewhere in the middle, if you like, and then down near our base camp, which is in the Brecon Beacons.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we'd love to run them everywhere, but you know, we are a relatively small outfit, small team in the UK. Obviously, we got sort of staff all around the world, but in the UK, yeah, there's only 4 of us. There will be 6 of us very, very soon, but we'll definitely try and run more with regards to dates. But this is why we're using sort of people like Steve up in North Wales. His experience is where we've learned from.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we're sort of bringing him in, if you like. But good questions, guys. It's always loads of questions today. It's fantastic. Yeah, so, we thought training weekends, we're going to run out of questions.
Yeah. So Paula Reed has said, when coming downhill, what can you stop to get your toes getting sore? I had the same problem. So there's a number of different fixes you can do for that. So the first thing you want to look at is what boots you're wearing. Are they too big? Because if they're too big and your feet can move forward and hit the ends, that's not good. Your feet shouldn't move in your boot, ideally. They call that getting that locked in feeling.
Yeah.
So first of all, I would recommend going and getting your feet measured and making sure that the boots you've got are the right size. You don't normally have to do this thing that you used to have to do years and years ago, which is get a size bigger if you're buying boots, you know, so you can put like thick socks on. You can get really good socks that don't require an extra size or half a size. I used to buy 11. And I realized I was buying too big. So now I buy a 10.5, which is exactly my size. And I've stopped that problem. Second one is, so when you figured out what size, you want to get the right type of boot for you. Not all boots suit all people. So yours might be too flexible. They might be allowing too much movement. The other thing is, how are you tying them? If you're just tying them traditionally, like you would tie a pair of trainers, that's not so there are a lot better ways you can do it. So fancy ways to go up and down. I might do a video about that. And do you remember the special tie-in technique? You know, so you go up.
That's right. It's quite new, isn't it? I know I trialed it on Kili and it worked a treat. My first time I'd used it, and it actually does lock in your feet really good. I'm actually wearing the same boots, my Maindle.
Andy's always mountain ready. He's like a cat.
I was walking the dog earlier. I needed to have some decent footwear.
So that's another thing. So how you tie in your boots. Also, you might want to look at some insoles. So I've got the same boots Andy's got there, and I put in the Superfeet Trailblazer insoles, and they really help keep your feet steady. And if you're moving, you'll get blisters and hurt your toes and stuff. The other thing is try poles as well. So when you're going downhill, extend the poles, put them out in front of you, and use your arms to kind of slow yourself down as well. So you're placing your feet nice and gently. Yeah,
no, really, really good, really nice points there, Dave. I think, yeah, you're right with the poles. I never used to, because I know someone mentioned poles earlier, Dave, and you answered the question. But with regards to poles, I never used to use them because I used to carry a GoPro. I used to like my hand, you know, at least one hand to be free just in case you slip.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, over time, I use them all the time now. You know, and I used to definitely make some, especially on the descents, you know, if you've got any knee issues, or if you haven't, it's good, you know, you're being proactive rather than reactive, and actually just basically using them whenever you go on a hike. We'll be using them if you're coming on the training weekends and you don't quite know how to use them. You maybe feel a bit like, oh, this is weird. That's what the training weekends are for. And, you know, hopefully in August, we catch up. If you want to join us, you know, just jump on. You can go on the website. we can put the URL. Lauren, Social Yeti. Sorry, Lauren, I feel like I left you out today. She's Lauren's been on the comments. She's still working from home. But yeah, if we can get the training weekend link, because if anyone does want to join us, we'd love to have you.
I think August is pretty much sold out, but September is
okay. Yeah.
And yeah, you know, COVID permitting, let's get out there.
Yeah, definitely. We can't wait. We still haven't been, because Wales is still in lockdown. 5 miles, you know, although using good judgment is a little bit too far away for us to go at the moment to Brecon Beacons, but we can't wait to get back out.
Yeah, exactly. So I keep seeing kit questions. I can't hide away.
It's all a kit. You should run your own show, Dave, having a kit.
Yeah,
show.
What a complete load of kit. Yeah, so Russell Bartley has said he's got umpteen pairs of boots. Welcome to the club, mate. And what would I recommend for Annapurna in Easter? The Maindel Boutans.
Yeah.
That's it. They're the best. But I mean, I think generally, like just through trial and error, and I think I've got 9 pairs of boots at the moment.
Yeah.
I've tried a lot of different ones, from synthetic ones to leather ones to sort of ultra lightweight fast hikers to more sort of Gore-Tex waterproof ones and winter ones and all this stuff. But I was on a training weekend. You see, even we get value out of it. And, 2
years ago now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, one of the EverTrekkers, Kiara, she did Everest Base Camp in April or October. Can't remember.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, last year anyway. I think it was October. And she had these Maindel Boutans that were like really good looking sort of leather boots. And I was like, oh, are you wearing leather? And she was like, oh, they're brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
She was like adamant. They are amazing. So I went out and I thought I'm going to take a punt because I was struggling. Like Claire said with the, not Claire, someone else said about the sore feet. I was struggling. Bought the Maindel Boutans, put the Trailblazer insole in them, and I've never looked back because they didn't require any wearing in at all. I put them on my feet.
Yeah.
I wore them around my life casually for 1 week before I went to base camp, and they were brilliant. Since then, they've done base camp twice and Kilimanjaro, and they're solid as a rock. I think I've met 1 or 2 people that didn't get on with them, and I've spoken to a lot. So try the Maindel Boutans. Andy, do you want to show him the Maindel Boutans?
I know. I'll put them up again.
Yeah.
Geez, there's this camera right.
So that's the sole.
You could probably see more leg than anything else, but honestly, Maindel Boutans are brilliant. And we hate to sort of scream about one particular boot because we've used quite a few over the years.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to use Scarpa, you know, if you're going to use and what was the previous boot? The North Face Hedgehog GTX is another one. I think I've used those like 4 times on base camp treks. But now these are my new favorite boots, and I'll even wear them on a hot, warm day like this, just because they're so comfy. Yeah,
they've got a really good Vibram sole. They've got memory foam uppers, so the ankle is supported, but yeah, it doesn't chafe. Really, really good. What's it, Steve Burrell? Are there any plans to run a training?
Yeah, sorry, Steve. I know you asked a little bit earlier, didn't you? And yes.
Oh, did we miss him?
Yeah, I know, because the questions are coming thick and fast there. So apologies on that, Steve. Yeah, with regards to the midweek ones, quite difficult because of the way we kind of run the trips, because most of them are weekend based. We do, because we have spoken to again Steve up in North Wales about sort of potential midweek dates. There might be some flexibility around that, so we'll definitely let you know. The classic sort of weekends that we run, because most people sort of do it on the weekend. Again, and I know it's frustrating, isn't it? Because you know if you work in the weekends, you would need to do it midweek. And although we're trying to accommodate everyone, it's difficult to run them during the week because of the numbers. You know, we couldn't sort of financially run them at the moment, you know, because hardly anyone would book them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to help you. So definitely, if we do have some dates, or even if there might be some private sort of options, I know that Steve, again in North Wales, and his team do some private midweek options. I'll have to get the cost for you for those, but I know that there's potential that you can just get out. You know, in Snowdonia, there's some great routes up there. Whether you go in the Glither or Snowdon, or you know, there's some brilliant sort of routes out there. Whether you're doing some of the Welsh 3000ers, which are always a good is always a good route. So yeah, we'll definitely let you know. But unfortunately, with the classic training weekend that we run in the Beacons, yeah, they're just going to be on the weekend, I'm afraid.
Exactly. Or you could just phone in sick.
Yeah. Didn't hear that from us, Dave.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it you used to say, Dave? Save your sick days for when you're well.
Save your sick days for when you're well. Yeah. I have never taken a day sick. I've taken a day well a couple of times, but I've never taken a day sick. I don't think that's true, to be honest. Oh, need I talk about shingles? Should we do a EverTrek Tuesday tune-in about shingles?
On shingles, yeah. No, it's just some great questions. I think we've gone through all of them, but yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. It's been awesome to have so many people on again with some questions. I mean, next week we always like to change it up a little bit, so it might be again something around equipment next week because we've got a few things we kind of want to cover off. But sort of mini announcement, if you like, with regards to the competition. You've got 7 days left to get yourself into the Kilimanjaro competition. I'll put it on the Lauren, if you're watching, can you put the link in? Just if any of you haven't entered into that competition yet, get yourself in.
Yeah.
We're going to be announcing that this time next week. So we'll definitely be doing a Q&A session and then announcing the winners because there's one place winner, and then you'll be able to sort of take your mate or one of your friends to top of Kilimanjaro, which is going to be awesome. So we'll be back for next week. But cheers, Dave. Good to see you. I'll probably see you in a second.
Yeah, just poke your head round the door, mate. Poke your head round the door. It's a really nice day outside, and I think I'm beginning to feel a bit unwell, to be fair. So.
Very good. No. If I know that most people have joined us on Facebook here, but we are pushing these out on YouTube and also turning them into podcast episodes as well. So definitely, if you sort of run out of time on here and you rather just listen to us sort of chat about all these questions, you can listen on the podcast. Okay.
Yes.
But nice one, Dave. All right, mate. I'll speak to you in a sec, and the rest of you, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next week.
All the best, guys. Thank you. Stay safe.
Bye.